All right, welcome to the Sanjay Ramchandani Cardinal Mason Ben Bader show. On today's episode, we'll be sitting on a couch, just the three of us, three guys, one couch, about $30 million in info product sales.
More than that.
30?
Like 40, bro.
$40 million in info product sales. You know, you lose count after
With a
10
B.
million. B?
With a B.
40 million with a B.
You'll have to excuse the setting here as we have one camera, one mic. We couldn't really spread it out, so we all bunched up on the couch.
Nice.
But Mace, Sanjay, most people probably know you guys, or at least you, Mason. Sanjay, you've been more in the shadows. If you want to give a quick introduction on who you are, who you're working with, what you're doing.
Yeah, so like on every Cardinal Mason webinar, I take over the Q&A when he has to pee.
Which I have to do every
That's
time.
my job. I get paid $40 an hour
Plus a percentage. You get paid a percentage to do that.
of whatever we sell during the time that I'm answering Q&A. No, but I run an info product agency. We do full stack for a lot of the big personal brands in the space. We do ads, webinars, email, everything in between. And in the past 2-3 years, we've probably done 15 million, call it, in revenue for our clients.
Beautiful. How much did your clients make last month? You were telling me it was like a crazy.
It was like 2.2 or 2.5, and that was only across like the 5 that I consider like fully done with you, like consulting and stuff. I don't count that.
Roughly, what do you take home from your rev shares?
It's not all like a cut. It's usually all like a cut above a certain number. So I would call it like close to 5 to 7% net of whatever my clients make. Just because some of them it's like a cut above X number.
Got it. Fire. And Cardinal Mason, you started Copy MBA what, 3 years ago?
I mean, the actual launch was like September of 2022, but we relaunched. There was like a grand reopening, April 19th, 2023.
Got it.
Yeah.
How has info changed from then to now? Because
It's got so
you
much
can give more context, but at the time, dude, like it was you rip a TikTok, get a bunch of people on a webinar, make $100,000 in a week, and like there were very little systems, very little anything outside of really good content and like the bare bones of the back end. But now you're definitely more strategic, more dialed with everything on that side. So what's changed?
It's gotten really quite a bit more difficult. Like, so when we started, it was like TikTok a day, funnel into a webinar, $597, print 3, 4, 5, 600K a month, which is what we were doing. And then even in 2024, I was making like maybe 10 pieces of short form content a month, maybe 2 YouTube videos a month, and we were still holding strong at like 500-600ish a month, no ads.
Yeah.
Like, and there were weeks where I would do nothing. I wouldn't post at all, and we would still somehow have a full calendar. The calls were 30 minutes long instead of 45 minutes long. Minimal objections, lay downs every single time.
Why do you think it's gotten harder?
I think I don't like the term saturation, but I definitely think it's become a little bit more saturated. Like, there's so many people doing info and selling stuff, and I think at the time, like, I was fairly early to it, and now it seems like all of the people that learned from that first cohort, there's probably like maybe 10, 15 like big personal brands that were like selling stuff, whether it was e-com or agency model or trading or whatever, and then all of the students of that cohort all now have courses.
Yeah.
And in another 3 years, when this new cohort all has their own courses, it's going to get even worse.
Yeah.
And nobody knows what to listen to anymore. And I think people are just kind of numb to like how many courses there are on the market and how many people there are. And they just don't respond as easily as they did before.
Yeah, I agree. I guess this is a question for both of you on that note. Sanjay, what do you do to like differentiate your clients' kind of personalities and lean into their strengths? Obviously it's different offers, but at the end of the day, you're selling make money online to majority younger males that want to escape the matrix. So like with the clients that you have that are doing multiple 6 figures, close to $1 million a month, how do you keep them different and make them stand out in more saturated niches?
I think like, and this kind of goes back to what Mason said, I think there's a lot of people who try selling info now, but the majority of them are kind of doing the bare minimum. Like they're doing what you were doing like 3 years ago, like, oh, like just TikTok to webinar, like whatever. And I honestly think those people won't sustain success for very long. Like they'll make good money for a little while, but eventually like it'll die out. I think what we do that makes things different is we're actually very intentional with like every stage of the customer journey. So like me and Mason talk about this on like a daily basis, but like there's like 7 to 10 big steps, call it, in the process from someone like finding you for the first time through an ad and then becoming a customer. And you have to put like disgusting amounts of focus and intention into each of those like 7 to 10 steps to actually like move people along the funnel effectively and like make it so that paid ads are profitable. So I think like it starts with that. I think it starts with like having a lot of intention within every step of the funnel. And that's how you set yourself apart from the guy who just like is doing basically what people were doing 3 years ago. Like, oh yeah, let me just like throw up this TikTok, let me throw up this YouTube video to like a type form that like barely works, a VSL that's like shitty, and just like see what happens.
Yeah. And then you have to dumb down the offer and have the right offer. You said something on the artisan group call yesterday that was like, imagine you were in your hometown walking around in the mall and you're trying to explain what you do to like random people.
Yeah.
That really clicked for me because I was like, okay, I could not explain the info agency model that well. Like there's so much that goes into it.
I think like honestly, and like I said, like I think a lot of people will like honestly like go out of business with info, if you want to call it that. I think the only way you should be building an offer is with the intention of scaling it to cold, because it's like that has to be the end game. There's like very few people, and it's like the fucking Imans of the world who can actually sustain like organic only for more than a few years.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to build it with the intention of scaling it to cold, and most people will like build it with the intention of organic and then they like pivot it to cold later, but it just makes things easier.
On that topic, you guys have recently gone from all organic. You know, it's especially in the beginning, it was like completely lay down leads. They absolutely loved you. They knew you really well. Like they were buying from you.
Yeah.
Now they're buying the mechanism. Now they're buying the model and more of like the copy that goes into that. What's that transition been like? I guess this is a question for both of you. How'd you go from all organic to now pretty much all paid?
Okay, so I'll start, but I definitely want you to like go deeper.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Pause.
So you're gonna do like the first few like
This
is the foreplay?
yeah, you'll do the foreplay
And then he's gonna fuck you guys.
I think what course sales used to be is like literally just I'm rich, here's how, and then sell a course. And a lot of times people would just buy that shit because they didn't know all of the different options. But I think now that it is so saturated.
Down. I think the camera's focusing on her foot.
Oh, my bad. Now that it is so saturated, like you actually have to differentiate with the offer. And I think we have a great offer right now. I think it's you know something that a lot of people are having a lot of success with. And you have to complete like if anyone's face was on it, it would still do well because it's not about me being rich. It's about like literally the people getting results with it.
Mm-hmm. And the timing in the market, the way you positioned it with AI, I think it just appeals more broad because AI is a term that everybody's hearing about. Mm-hmm. And you're like, okay, here's how you capitalize on the AI gold rush.
Yeah, which by the way, everyone's kind of doing. So I don't even think AI is like a differentiator anymore, which is like kind of a good thing because like I was getting nervous that we were so hot because of AI. But now that I know that it kind of stands on its own, even though like thousands of different offers are using AI as a mechanism, it's like, okay, we can still like do well without that. What were you going to say, Sanjay?
Like you kind of already talked about it a little bit, but I think kind of like the same thing what I said where it's like you should build your offer to scale to cold originally. It's almost the same thing like what you said about it could technically be anyone's face on it. Like again, like not many people end up doing this, but you want to think about like if you were to build your info company to sell from day one and not have it be essentially faceless. Like think about like what Ryan does with like Warrior Babes or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's because the messaging, the sales team, the systems, like the entire process is so dialed that it doesn't matter that there's a personal brand behind it. So it's like, yes, like obviously like Mason having a personal brand helps us a lot, but we almost want to act as if that's like not an asset. If you can make the process so good that you could, in theory, make it faceless and sell that company, like that's how you really win, I think, is if you dial in everything to the point where you're not leaning on the personal brand.
Yeah. What would you say like the biggest levers are there as far as like what kind of offer, what kind of messaging, how do you have to position it for it to be good enough to work on a cold audience?
I mean, this isn't like an exhaustive list, but just like the first few things that come to mind is like one, the offer and the positioning, obviously. So like, is it something that you could basically convey to someone in a sentence and it starts to like make sense for them? At the same time, is it something that like seems lucrative? Like for example, the whole like Ben Kelly's offer, like you tell that to their ICP, like someone in their 30s and 40s, and they're like, oh shit, that makes a lot of sense. Like there are people 20 years older than me that are on the brink of retiring. I know the majority of people aren't in a position to buy a business, so there is like a big supply and demand, basically
It's
arbitrage.
tangible.
Yeah, so they're like, you get them that aha moment, and then from there, I think after you've nailed the offer, a lot of it goes into the messaging. So that's like VSL, obviously everything on the landing pages, but also everything from when they're hitting the VSL to when the call is live, like everything in the middle of funnel, like all the retargeting, all the pre-call emails, the messaging, being congruent with your sales team, all that. And then obviously like the big like Achilles heel, I feel like for a lot of people, is the actual sales process and the sales team. So I would say if you had to boil it down to a few things, those are like the biggest levers.
I would add too, it seems like the best offers start with the audience. And like this is what I would do in the future if I were gonna like start something else, which I'm kind of doing now with the publishing thing, is like start with who you want to sell to first and then kind of build an offer around that. And I feel like that's like 101 business advice that like we've heard a million times, but like it's true in info just as it is in e-com.
Yeah.
It's kind of e-com advice. But like the reason why, and I don't know if we want to dox anything, but like the reason why Jordan's doing so well right now is because his shit is built around like something that people who are already making $500,000 a year can see themselves doing in like basically no time at all. It feels executive, it feels professional, and it's something that like it takes no effort, and it's gonna be actually like a needle mover. Like it's something that can make you 30 to 50 extra $1,000 a month, not just like an extra 3 to 5. And so like the reason why like drop shipping is like getting a little bit more difficult, and I think Brooke handled this perfectly, is because like it's high ticket dropshipping. It's higher leverage.
Yeah.
It's like something that you can kind of be hands off with, and like the rest of dropshipping is like traditional dropshipping is like if you're 19 years old and you want to start a business, like this is what you do. It's going to be like 24/7 all the time.
Right.
But like we don't want to target 19-year-olds on Facebook.
Yeah.
We want to target people who are like 30 and make $150K a year and have money to invest in 15K product.
Yeah, I think that's a really big thing. Like, no offer ever completely dies out, but if you try and just start you can make money dropshipping offer in 2025, you're not going to have very much success. But if it's like an iteration on something that people already understand, so high ticket dropshipping, branded dropshipping, same thing goes for trading. Like all these people that have trading algos and however other way they spin it, that's what keeps it feeling fresh enough to where it doesn't, you almost start to drown it out, where like people talk about, oh, you need a pattern interrupt. It innately has a pattern interrupt by just differentiating the name. Like you even pivoting from freelance copywriting to AI copywriting, it just makes it feel new. And it's legit because now AI can actually do all the stuff. So it's interesting to see that. I guess, what would you guys say is like for anyone watching this and they're stuck around the 50 to 100K a month mark with their own offer or a client's offer, what's the biggest thing to get past that hump and reach $500,000 a month plus?
Here for Sunday.
Honestly, like it's very like situational, bro, because there's a lot of offers that I feel like have a really low ceiling. Like I feel like, again, it's kind of like what I was talking about in your call yesterday, where it's like after you do this for long enough, you kind of just know within like 5 to 10 seconds, like, okay, that's a good offer. Like that is like primed to run. Like he has a good personal brand. Like I see this being high ceiling. But like I would say like if it's someone who like actually has a high ceiling, how do you actually fill that gap and get there? I really think, bro, that like you have to decide what conversion mechanism you want to go all in on, whether it's like webinars, VSLs, like whatever it may be, and just put a fuck ton of focus into every single step within that funnel, nail the entire funnel, and then move into the next thing. Obviously, after you've done everything I already said before, like dial in the positioning, the messaging, the sales process, and kind of everything in between. From that point, like the actual tangible scaling advice, I think is to like go full focus into one funnel, milk that for all it's got, because every funnel kind of has its own like ceiling, and then work on pivoting to the next one.
What would you say the biggest levers are on the back end of that? So when you say dial in the messaging funnel, sales team, all of the emails, the nurture, like what are the things that people miss because they just don't think it's important enough to focus on, or they think, oh, we've got pre-call emails, but they're not as granular with it as they should be?
I mean, like even me and Mason were talking about this today. Like, getting really, really clear on your ICP helps a lot, and you can literally use AI for this. Like, I'll have it build out like an entire like avatar of like our ideal client. You want to go into like disgusting detail, and then you use that to basically use that as like an anchor for all the assets you're making with it. That's one thing. But then I think the other thing is honestly just like attention to detail. Like you need to think like every scenario. Like, okay, like how can I even liquidate like my DQs better? How can I like you almost want to make sure that you've ticked all the boxes before you actually start putting a lot of throughput on a funnel, like spending a lot of ad spend on it, just because like you don't want their, like we can recoup, if we can recoup 30 or 40% of our ad spend just off of down sales, or like mitigate this little leak in the business this way. I think that stuff all matters a lot, and then from there it's just like getting really clear on the ICP and just understanding every step within the funnel.
Yeah, and it's so like this is actually why we work so well together, is because you are super detail oriented, and I guess I am to a degree, but I care way more about like big picture stuff.
Yeah.
So all of the arguments that we have about like why sometimes we have like slow weeks is because like I'm like, yo, we need to redo everything. Like, we literally had this conversation today.
Yeah.
Like, dude, everything's fucked. Like, we need to redo, like, the entire ad library and, like, new VSL. Like, we need to change the offer, basically. And you're like, no, dude, like, we just need more hammer them. And it's like, what? Like, there's a lot that happens. Like, so sometimes, like, you have a bunch of traffic coming through and you don't have people converting as well. It's like when you have, like, 40 calls a day and your metrics suck. And you're thinking like, okay, is this because the sales team sucks? Are we not doing enough with email pre-call? Do we need to set up some sort of automation where people feel more like, you know, they're reminded to like come to the call, like with Calendly text and stuff like that? But like, it's also like the type of person who's coming in.
Yeah.
And so like we can have the exact same back-end selling system on, you know, 1 week where we have a certain batch of people coming through the ads, exact same ads, exact same VSL. And then so some people are really good, like the quality of people is good, and we have like 70% show rate and 50% close rate, which is awesome. And then sometimes everything stays exactly the same and we have like 30% show rate and 30% close rate. And it's like, well, what's going on? Like, so it has to be a balance of both. I think like, again, you have to like make sure that you build everything in the back end first and like have that dialed before you go big, which I feel like we've kind of done, even though there's still like small tweaks and stuff, but like you have to have all your pre-call emails. You have to have the hammer them stuff set up. You have to have the retargeting. You have to have a dialed sales team.
Yeah.
But then also like once that's in there, you can feel pretty confident that any issue that you have is like it's an offer issue, or it's a top of funnel issue, or there's something with the VSL, or there's something that makes people feel like they just don't want to do it, or they don't feel as bought in. That's all like on the front end creative stuff.
Yeah. How has it felt for you getting off the organic hamster wheel? As much as you loved it for the time that you were on there, it is definitely like, oh shit, I have to make content consistently. And like I remember your webinar schedule was I need to post 5 TikToks a week and then go live 3 times, 2 times the day of the webinar. And like now you're completely off of that. Or not completely, but way more heavy on
No,
ads.
completely off of it.
Yeah?
Like in June I posted 3 short form pieces of content. None of them were offer based. Like it was like, I made one video about how there were 2 people that should have sex. And then another one about how it's expensive to be in Monaco and some other shit. And like, so yeah, we don't rely on it at all. Like we have stuff where people want to go through Instagram and YouTube or whatever, like they will do that. But like, even if you're pure paid, you should have that anyway. Like you should have stuff on YouTube. But the thing for me is like, I used to wish I could like recreate customer journeys. Like there's some people that like, they come in and they watch a certain number of TikToks in a certain order in a way that made them feel like they knew what the business model was and they were inspired to do it and they liked me. And then they would watch the VSL and then they would hop in a call and it'd be a lay down close. And I was like, why can't that just happen every time? With ads, it kind of can. Like you can have in order exactly, you can orchestrate exactly what you want the person to see and hear from you before the call. And once you have that correct combination of like content on the front end, if we ever go big where we want to start doing some of like the tornado stuff that Jeremy talks about, so we have that and then direct response ads and then the VSL, you know what I mean? Like they see everything in the same order. It's so much easier to scale once you can control all of that.
Yeah.
And also it's way less work. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
It's more because like, I guess like there's more to think about and there's more risk involved. Like if I drop 30K on a Webby and it just completely flops and I lose 30 grand, like, you know what I mean? But yeah, like with having to do like content all the time specifically to make money, I wrote an email about this. It wasn't fun. I like it more now because like now I kind of get to talk about whatever and just be like an influencer. Like I want to be like TJR, bro. TJR doesn't talk about trading that much.
Anything but trading, bro.
Dude, he'll just be laying down, kicking his feet, showing his buns, and that'll be like TikTok gets 500,000 views. Like I want to do that.
Yeah, that's interesting. I guess Sanjay, on your side, what's that been like? Because at first it was all, let's find somebody with a solid audience and like do better than they were doing on the back end, and we will make them more money. But at the same time, we're just better liquidating their audience than they were. And now you're like, all right, we're going to install all of these systems. Not only are we going to do the back end stuff so that this is ready for paid, but then I'm also going to drive traffic for you with your dollars.
Yeah, I would just say like from the offer owner's perspective, I wouldn't say it's like less work. I would just say it's like different work, and it's one of those things where like you're putting in the work for longevity. Like we could film an ad tomorrow that can make us 7 figures. And it's like realistically for you to like you would probably have to post 500 TikToks to like recreate that same amount of revenue, but you could just do one really well thought out ad. And obviously you're not going to know like that's the one that's going to hit, but like there is a world where that happens. And I feel like I'm like kind of a control freak, so I like the paid side of it because I could imagine if I was Mason and like I'm just putting out my best content and like it's just not hitting the algorithm, or I'm shadow banned or whatever, it's like you kind of feel helpless.
Yeah.
Where it's like this is like buying your control back. And then from like my perspective, like the service provider's perspective, I think that like it gives me a lot more of a moat in the sense of like if you can generate customers for people, you become like a lot more of a linchpin in that person's business, where it's like they almost like can't fire you at a certain extent. It's like if you're that valuable to the point where like you're helping them create the traffic, liquidate the traffic, and just like do everything in between. Like I like that feeling too, because it's like it really like ingrains me with all my clients in a sense, where it's like I feel very involved, so I can make more off of less clients. And also it's just like a nice feeling because I know that there's a lot of people now who do like growth operating and like they know how to like write emails and they know how to like do whatever, but like the people who can actually do paid at a high level, they're like a notch above everyone else.
Yeah. How difficult would you say it was for you to learn paid and get really good at it?
It was hard, bro, because like honestly, like I had like a year or two of experience before I even started doing paid for info, because I had my own e-com brand and I was spending my own money. And when you spend your own money, you care about it like probably 5 times more, because like especially me, like I wasn't making it.
Sanjay's like, oh, this is fucking Mason's money. He's got a penthouse. He's on a jet. Let's just spend more.
It's not even that, but it's like I was at the stage where like I didn't have a ton of money and I was spending like a good chunk of my own money. So you like learn how to do this shit a lot faster, because you're like you have like a sense of urgency with it. And then like adapting all of that, what I learned there, into info, you have to understand all the nuances of info to like do that at a high level. And like I would say even then it took me another year of like not only like paying people continuously to help me get better, but then also like doing it over and over day after day. So like it's not easy, but it's definitely like worthwhile.
Do you think info ads, like running paid for info, is easier than running paid for econ?
I don't think it's easier. I think it's just different. I think the thing with info is there's a lot of human touch point, which means that there's a lot of human error. Like you can be doing your job perfectly, but if the sales team's fucking everything up, the results are still gonna be bad. And there's also like, if you took an ecom media buyer and just put him into like an info business, he's not gonna understand like the nuances behind like show rate and like sales process and like, you know, this happening with webinars and this happening with call funnels. So it's like, I think it's just different. I wouldn't say, I don't know if it's harder or easier because I never got to like a super high level with ecom media buying, but I would just say it's different.
Mm-hmm. You know, I had a mentor tell me, organic content is like sucking dick and paid ads is like getting your dick sucked. So you just spend more and you get more head versus like you're sucking Taylor Allen.
Wow.
Versus
That's
like
actually
sucking
really
the dick of the algorithm. Like, please give me customers. So, congrats, boys. You're getting a lot of head.
Yeah, sometimes there's some teeth, but
Yeah, sometimes you get a lot of teeth and you're like, holy shit, like I would rather be sucking dick than doing this on
and sometimes like you get a little bit of both, where it's like oh wait, no, I don't have an analogy for this one.
Where were you going with that?
Where it's like you have organic and paid, so like you're getting your dick sucked, but you're also putting like something at the same time.
This turned into a Diddy party, man.
Sometimes it feels really good, and then it inspires you to suck dick better. And so that's kind of where I'm at right now.
Yeah, and like I was saying on the call yesterday, it's better when you do both because it's like if you have the context of what it's like to suck dick well, it like almost makes it feel better when you're getting your dick because you like understand like both sides of it.
100%, bro. Yes.
Damn.
Yeah.
That's the fucking law of the universe right there. Okay, I guess last question for you guys. What are the offers you like most? I guess, Sanjay, you'd have a lot of context on this, but you as well, Mace. What offers do you think are just in the right spot right now in 2025? Like, what's going on in the market? Like, if you're trying to spin up a coaching business and get to multi-six, even 7 figures a month, what are you looking for?
I would say like it kind of goes back to what Mason said. Like you just reverse engineer with the person you want to sell to. So like personally, I think the easiest people to sell to are like 100% women, but also people like above age 25 because there's certain like niches and offers like the fucking like organic drop shipping and shit. Like there's no like 25-year-olds getting on the phone with that. Like you're inherently selling to like 18-year-olds with that. So I would just say like anything, like make money online is always easier to sell just from like a copywriting perspective. Like it's a lot, like I've tried doing like dating offers and like stuff like that. There's a lot more like sales resistance, I feel like, and you have to have like a way better operation going, whereas like selling the outcome of making money is always easier. So I would say like anything make money online that specifically appeals to people that like have money, are like older than 25 and maybe even women. So like something like doing Section 8, like inherently like people who are broke know that they do not have the money to go invest in real estate. So it's like they're not clicking on those ads. They're not like interacting with that content. So that's what I would say. Yeah,
because it's like almost an investment opportunity rather than a put money into this to learn skills to then make money.
Yeah.
It's skipping that step and naturally you're just attracting people that have the money already. So they're like, all right, I want to multiply it. It's the same thing with the guys that you mentioned earlier. Their automation is like, okay, give us money, we'll turn it into more.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, with like, it's like, I mean, bro, $100 million offers, like the offer equation, like the denominator is how low effort can you make it for the person on the other end. Which is what I was going to say, where it's like, I see like a lot of this going towards more like services. And like, I think a year or two ago, people had the right idea where it's like, well, I'm going to start an info business and then put a SaaS on the back end so that I can exit. Well, first of all, you're not going to exit. You're right there though, where it's not just like, I'm going to put a SaaS, I'm just going to bolt a SaaS on just so I feel better about the business and like maybe I can get a small exit for something after. But it's more about like, how much can you remove from the person who's buying it? And so like, again, that's why they're doing so well, is because like it's a service more than it is like just info.
Yeah.
So the more service or product you can tie into it, the more you can charge and the better things are going to be, where it's like, it just makes it a no-brainer. Like a lot of the resistance that we get is not like, do I think I can make money with this business model? It's like, do I want to do it?
Yeah.
Like, do I want to fucking sit there and send out cold emails and do all this stuff that I have to do?
Yeah.
So I think the more that you can take off someone's plate, the better. But also, yeah, selling to women. The next two that go live for me and Griff stuff is going to be one for young women, but it's biz op, which like, shout out Shelby Sapp, you kind of like put women in that mindset. Appreciate you. I'm going to eat off your plate now. And two, it's going to be completely not biz op, but it's women like over 40. And it's like a painful problem that they have. And so like those two I think are going to do well because selling to women, it's much different. You can't talk to women the same way that you talk to men, like in the way that I do with my marketing. Or the way that, like, you could never like close a cartel sale a woman like that. Like, you know how like Luke had the best offer ever where he could literally call someone a pussy. Be like, you're a bitch. You're a bitch, buy my shit. And then they would buy it.
Yeah.
But you can't do that. It's a lot different with women. So I'm excited for the new challenge, but yeah, what was the question?
I don't remember.
Best offers.
Yeah, best offers.
That's how I feel.
Cool. Well, all right, boys. Thanks for sucking the organic treadmill's dick. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, like, subscribe, comment, share it with your grandma. Follow these two on social media if you don't already.
At Benny Jets.
And Benny Jets. God bless. See you in the next one.